Hey guys. Yeah, and you see the title below. We are live, and yes, super chats, if you want to contribute to a super chat, are indeed on right now. And we are here as I adjust the camera and I allow ads to be inserted in. But yeah, welcome to today's live stream. And again, the title says it best down below, or in the description, depending on how you view this. We are looking at basically, ladies and gentlemen, as I make sure that it's working here, there it is. We are looking at basically the top 9 finales in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Now, of course, yes, from an animation standpoint, there was only 9 seasons of MLP. We all know that. But there's a lot of people that have been doing countdowns to what they consider are some of the best songs, some of the best episodes, some of the best premieres, what have you. And I figured, well, a lot of them are doing that through, obviously, pre-production and all that. Basically, they record the voiceover, they bring in the imagery and all that. So I figured, why not try to do something that's just about the same, but a little bit more different. And the difference being that it's live, that basically off the top of my head, without a script, just give you my honest to God opinions of what I feel are the best of the top 9 finales out of all 9 finales, if you will, of MLP FIM. And, there are a lot of finales. There are no doubt about that. So, with that said, hold on for a sec while I do something here. Let me copy the link. Go to Twitter. But yeah, these are basically the top 9, in my opinion, when it comes to finales. Now, some of them you may or may not agree with, and and that's fine. That's your opinion on how you feel about things. If you either not you agree or not agree, So again, it's one of those. Basically, it's just one of those countdowns to where it's just one person's opinion, and if you feel different about it, that's fine. I don't have a issue with that. But again, these are just my opinions. I'm just letting you know what my thoughts are on it. If I can get, there we go, the highlighting to work here. For some odd reason, Microsoft Edge has been having some issues lately when it comes to you wanting to highlight certain things to copy, like certain words and all that. So I don't know if maybe it's just something that's been going on. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, like I said, these are just the top 9 in my opinion. And like I said, you have a difference of opinion if you feel whether or not you agree with me on it. And, it's not a problem, if you will, in my opinion. I just feel that these, when I list them off the way I will, are some of, they're basically good, but they're not like, in a position to where they could be like in a top 5 or top 3 or even the very top, if you will, when it comes to things. So it's, again, these are just, my opinion on what I feel honestly are the top 9 episodes out there. Well, not episodes, but finales when it comes to the series. And some of you may or may not agree, and that's fine, and I have no problem with that. Like I said, I know I repeated myself there, but again, I have no problem with that because every time somebody does a countdown of any kind, especially when it comes to a show that's been running for who knows how long, usually they'll say this. They'll usually do a countdown like this. Either it is live, like what I'm doing, or they'll do it, pre-recorded, edited and all that. They'll give their thoughts on it, and they'll be like, "Well, yeah, this is why I feel this is listed at where it's at and everything." So you know, that'll be the reason. It's like with Firebrand, aka Josh Scorcher, when he did his countdown on the top best and worst songs in MLP. He basically said that overall these are his opinions, and he gave reason as to why he considered them, in his opinion, to be the very best out of the series. And there are a lot. He even named it. It's like almost nearly, almost nearly 200 songs, nearly about that. So in a series that ran for over 220 episodes. So to kind of crunch it down to what it was, it's like, seriously, that's saying something. Typing this all up and everything in the tags takes a bit because you gotta basically list them all off by like season and all that when people want to look up information. Come on, baby. And yeah, I think that's all we're gonna do is up to season 8 because I already put series finale, so yeah, that about works. So anyway, we're gonna get to talking about that in just a moment. But if you excuse me for a second, I got to use the facilities real quickly. I'll be right back. But when I get back, we will be doing the top 9 in my opinion. So I'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys, I am back, and as we get ready to link this up and everything's cool. All right, and let me make sure everything is working on the other end here. Basically, even though I have my blue snowball mic connected, I just want to make sure everything is working. Everything is working. Here it is. Okay. So, with that said, let's list off basically what I consider the top 9 in the finales of when it comes to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Again, like I said, I'm doing this off the top of my head without a script, just on the fly, if you will, al natural. So, so yeah, let's start off, and let's start off with my pick for number 9. And the pick for number 9, some of you may or may not agree with. And that pick, believe it or not, is Magical Mystery Cure. That's right, Magical Mystery Cure. And I know some people might be like, well, why would you list that at number 9 or anything? Well, mainly it's because of the fact that when you hear what others have had to say, or something like that. There you go. Just got to fix something there for a second. But anyway, when you hear people do countdowns on some of the best episodes, if not some of the best finales, maybe if they're doing that as well, a lot of them, when it comes to talking about the episodes, sometimes even talking about the finales, whether it's in like I said, a top tier countdown, or just what they consider to be some of the best episodes of a season, like Voice of Reason. He'll at times do a best and worst of a season deal, and he's done that for most of the series. Sometimes, I think I don't know if he listed this as part of the worst or whatever, but when I hear people talking about all the episodes and the finales, the one that gets talked about the least, even though it has significance to it, major significance, is Magical Mystery Cure. And the reason being is because of the fact that, like Best Night, I think, what was it? Best Night Ever or Best Night Out. I think that was the finale for season 1, wasn't it? Best Night Ever, Best Night Out, one of them. I think that, well, not one of them, but that was the name. Let me see something here. Hold on, guys. But anyway, like I was saying, when people talk about, okay, Best Night Ever, that's what it was. Okay, but anyway, when people are talking about the episodes of each season and sometimes conversing of what they consider to be the very best, as I adjust my camera here, because it looks like it's a little crooked. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the way it's displayed. But anyway, when basically people talk about, and I was just checking, make sure it's all balanced. That being the camera. Okay. But basically, when people would talk about, oh, this camera's going to drive me crazy a little bit, guys. Let me just adjust this a bit. Well, it's not driving me crazy. It's just, I think it's the way it's angled and all that kind of throws me off. Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is fine. But anyway, what was it? Oh, yeah. What I was getting at is when people talk about a lot of the episodes, in my opinion, from what I've seen, and they talk about, as I bring the camera up a little bit more, they talk about a lot of the episodes from a season, or if not throughout the series, one of the episodes they talk about the least, or they talk about as like being in the bottom of, episodes, like, forget finales and all that, but let's say, overall top 225 episodes, if you will. You kind of get what I'm saying. Basically, the best. If they would have said, if they didn't do, I'll put it this way: if they wanted to do a top 226 episode countdown, basically counting down the top 226 episodes from what is considered the 226th episode, basically the very least best one to the very best, then somewhere in the middle, like in the 200 range, maybe in the upper 170th, 175 range, I would say this way, between 175 and 226, that's where you would find Magic Mystery Cure, in my opinion. Because even though, as I was trying to say, it has significance, in what it brings to the table, basically it's the episode which introduced Twilight as an alicorn, basically, as some people would say, jumped the shark with her. Not a lot of people talk about it because, as I was trying to say, it's kind of very similar, if not identical, to season 1's finale, Best Night Ever, because of the fact that finale is just a half-hour episode. Yes, I will admit, and it has been documented, that in some way, Magic Mystery Cure is just the prelude, the first part to a 3-part story. Because I think even the staff themselves at one point said that Magic Mystery Cure was just the first part of 3. I think Megan McCarthy even said that. I think Megan McCarthy even said that it was the first of 3. She didn't say, it was a standalone deal, that it was basically the first. It was the first of, like I said, a 3-parter, and that you have to tune into season 4 to see the rest of it, or see the other 2, to see the next 2 parts. And I'll admit that's kind of an interesting concept. It's not really that new because other shows, animated and live action, have done something similar. But it is an interesting concept to go with because of the fact that when you look at the significance of what it does by basically making Twilight an alicorn, and basically the reasoning for her doing so was she completed a spell that Star Swirl could not complete and made it her own. And that the purpose for her to do this was for her to, I guess, read off her spell or something like that caused her friends' memories and destinies to be changed. In other words, you have Rarity in the play, you have Rarity being in charge of the weather and all that, which originally is Rainbow Dash's job. You have, I think, what is it? Rainbow Dash in charge of what Pinky does. Pinky in charge of what Apple does. I think Applejack. No, wait a minute. Rainbow. No, wait a minute. What was it? Oh yeah, Rarity in charge of Rainbow Dash's job. Rainbow Dash in charge of Fluttershy's. Pinky in charge of Applejack's. Applejack's in charge of Rarity's. So yeah, you basically have all of them switching destinies, and this is all part of, basically a plan, hold on for a sec. Sorry about that. Portfolio deal, something like that, calling. They constantly call. I don't know why. They always call automatic. I just answer and then hang up. Easy. Anyway. Sorry about that. But what was I? Oh, yeah. But like I said, basically their destinies are changed over. The memories of the memories and destinies of what they're supposed to do and be have changed. So Twilight has to fix this by finishing a spell that Stars will, fail to finish and make it her own. This enabled her to not only fix the problem, but also enabled her to gain the power that she needed, or get basically pass. I guess you could say the finals, if you will, the her final test to becoming a princess. Now, true, this does all tie into what Lauren Faust originally wanted. Lauren Faust wanted Twilight to become a princess, but as I've mentioned many times, and others have kind of agreed, I don't think Lauren Faust, saw the show going for as long as it did. She didn't see the show going for, as long as it ran. If you know what I'm saying. So to basically have part of her goals accomplished, but also be utilized and served as as a prelude, as the first of three parts, or the first of a three-part story, which the other two you have to, which if you want to watch the other two, you have to tune into season 4 for anyway. Basically, uh, again, what I'm trying to say is, at least that goal was accomplished and there was significance to it. However, when you get down down to it, when it comes to people, like I say, talking about the episodes, overall the season, overall, certain episodes for a season or certain episodes throughout the entire show, Magic Mystery Cure is always like listed off, in the very at the very bottom. Like I mentioned, like I said, if somebody wanted to do a top 226 countdown of all the episodes from what is considered the very least favorite to the very best, Magic Mystery Cure would be located, in my opinion, from what I've seen and heard from people, between 175 and 226. Basically, it'd be listed off in one of those countdown numbers, either number 175 or number 226. That it would be in between that frame. And again, I understand people might disagree with me on that, and that's fine. I don't. It doesn't matter if to me, it doesn't matter if you agree or not. I mean, again, this is just my opinion, and I feel honestly that basically, um, when you look at all the episodes that get listed off by people or talked about, Magic Mystery Cure is always kind of like the least talked about, and and I think it's considered again, and I think the reason I'm trying to say is it's because of the fact that to a lot of folks it jumped the shark. I mean, I think Del Wilsonator, Thespio, acknowledged this. I think, what was it, in when the analysis bronies bronies, as they're called, were doing a reaction video to the season 6 premiere. Or I think it was that, or was it one of his at the screenings with Voice of Reason? One of them. It was one of them. But anyway, he acknowledged, how some people, he acknowledged, as I guess using it as an example, he acknowledged the meltdown that the fandom had when it came to, Alicorn Twilight, to Twilight basically being an Alicorn, if you know what I mean. So they weren't, so, the fandom wasn't too thrilled, and that's why it's always talked about the least, even though, like I said, it has significance. I mean, the two-parter that concludes, that connects with Magic Mystery Cure, that concludes this whole story arc of Twilight be going from a regular unicorn to an alicorn, basically that episode is looked at as being more significant and important than Magic Mystery Cure. It's almost like they ignore Magic Mystery Cure. They basically look at, okay, Hasbro wanted to bring out this Alicorn Princess version of Twilight. So you know what? We'll just act like, season 4. We'll just act like the season 4 premiere, that when we first see her as an Alicorn, that it's just part of change. It's just to tie in now with the new toy, and we'll just roll along with it. And whatever backstory they give us to explain why she's an Alicorn now, we'll go along with it. And that's why, even though they understand Magic Mystery Cure is the first part in a 3-part story arc that connects with the season 4 premiere, they'll basically ignore it and just act like, the season 4 premiere is its own thing, and that whatever exposition or background we get through that, they'll accept. So in my opinion, this is why basically Twilight Sparkle is not Twilight Sparkle, but Magic Mystery Cure is listed, in my opinion, as being number 9 on this countdown, because even though it has significance, it has importance, it is the least talked about. It's the least talked about because nobody really likes it. Nobody really wants to, give it a chance or anything. So again, it's just like I said, it's just my opinion. It's my opinion on that. And again, you can agree or disagree, whatever you want on and all that. But again, it's just an opinion, and that's really about it. So even though I think people should give it more credit and everything, and at least should give it a chance, because like I said, if this, I'll put it this way, if this episode was as somebody that I follow here on YouTube and on social media, Zara Nizarak, Sean McLean of the Multimedia Chronicles would say, or is used in previous video closer look videos or updates or whatever, he would say that when it comes to multi-part stories, and he would agree, even with the first part being serving like a finale for one season and the next 2 serving as a part of the premiere, basically Zara Nizarak would come out and say that, even though you may not like one of the parts, like specifically the first part, that you can't really, enjoy the whole premise of what's going on unless you have that part. And if all 3 parts were streamlined together as a movie, if you will, then yeah, you would have to watch that part to get the whole shebang, the whole concept behind Magic Mystery Cure. Again, like I said, it's basically concluding what originally what Lauren Faust wanted to do. Lauren Faust wanted Twilight to be an Alicorn. She wanted her to be a princess. And, that's what she got. She ended up getting that. So, that's kind of cool to see that happen, in my opinion. It's kind of cool to see that happen, in my opinion. So, anyway, that's about it for number 9. All right, so that's about it for the first finale in the countdown at number 9, being Magic Mystery Cure. Again, like I said, the reason it's at number 9 is because when you listen to what other people say when they come and talk about episodes, it's never really brought up that much, only in passing sometimes. It's only brought up when people are talking about the season 4 premiere, and even the continuity nod to it when it came to the season 7 finale. So that's the only time you ever probably hear people acknowledge it in a major way. So anyway, now on to number 8 in the countdown. And number 8 is the cutie remark. And I know some people are mixed about this episode or this 2-part finale. But the one thing I will say about it is, at least throughout season 5, you have somewhat of a constant continuity to it and connection. Mainly because of the fact that there are certain episodes, there are certain episodes spread throughout season 5, where you see the connection between the ending of the season 5 premiere, the cutie mark, or the cutie mark map, or the cutie map, and the cutie remark. And the reason I say you see certain connections spread throughout is because the continuity that connects them all is, no matter what place Twilight is at, with her friends or on her own or with one of the main characters or with a supporting character, who's hiding in the background? Who's hiding in the background? Starlight. Starlight is the one that's hiding in the background. She's always following Twilight. She's hiding her. There was a review that Silver Quill did collabed with on with I Love KP a lot, and basically he did this not once, but he did it twice. He did it on his own solo review of Amending Fences, and then, like I said, he did it with the collab that he did with KP. And that collab, and basically he was poking fun at the fact that, it was that to the audience, like himself, when he would first see it, it was obvious that Starlight was following Twilight, and that all Twilight had to do was maybe just turn her head around, notice that the original main style of Starlight's, to kind of see, oh, wait a minute, is that who I think it is? Because that obviously, if we the viewers can spot these little clues here and there, if we could, if we as viewers could spot these little details here and there, why can't the characters in context kind of be like, hey, who is that over there? And then notice the main, and then maybe see her run off, and then start connecting the dots. Because when you get to this finale was good. It introduced a lot of interesting concepts. I'm not denying that. It introduced a lot of interesting concepts. It even opened a lot of speculation, a lot of questions to be theorized and speculated on. Because the premise of this finale is you have Starlight showing that she's just as powerful as Twilight, and that she is going to do whatever it takes to get what she wants, not realizing the consequences that would follow. And what made this episode so popular in the eyes of a lot of fans, even though it got a bit of a mixed reaction because of its ending, because of the ending we got, as well as the reasoning behind Starlight's motivation. Basically, the reason this 2-part finale was so popular in the eyes of a lot of fans was because of the fact that it introduced all these different alternate realities, all these alternate timelines of what could be or what could change significantly if something didn't happen the way it should. And the fact that it ties in at the end to Rainbow Dash's Rainboom that she did back when she was a filly being so important. I mean, even Rainbow Dash comes out at the end, and when Twilight explains what happened to the rest of the main group, Rainbow Dash is surprised, like, wow, I knew my Sonic Rainboom was important, but I didn't know it was that important. It's like it even surprises her. It even surprises her. So yeah, basically, again, the 2-parter is, like I said, a very popular 2-parter, but again, it's one that's very mixed, because the one thing that brings it down for a lot of people, as I mentioned, was what's the revelation of Starlight's motivation, as to why she wants to do this, why she did what she did at the beginning of the season, and why she wanted to change things. And the motivation being that her friend Sunburst, in her mind, abandoned her when he got his cutie mark. I mean, she said it best when she finally explained the reasoning, that in her mind, he got his cutie mark, she didn't. He got to move on with his life, she didn't. And a lot of fans, even those that are known for bringing the fandom, to the pop culture. What I'm trying to say is, even those that are known for helping to bring the franchise into the pop culture phenomenon that it is today, even they, like Thespio, AC Race Best, Silver Quill, I'm pretty sure. Let's see, Keyframe, Golden Fox, Lightning Bliss. Any one of them that has done a review or reaction to this finale have all kind of pretty much said the same thing. Like, really? So you decided to become an ultravert? What is it called? A ultravert, if you will, all because your friend, your closest friend in your mind, abandoned you, and because of this, you didn't decide to go and seek other friends, and you just carried this for so long to the point that it just drove you to this moment to where you want to, get rid of cutie marks forever, so that you'll never have to lose your friend. What's interesting about this is it takes Twilight to show her exactly, even before this, to show her exactly what the consequences are going to be if she continues doing this. And Twilight says the one thing at the end, and when she finally convinces Starlight to basically reconsider what she's doing, she says, so don't let, she basically tells her, well, then don't let this hold you down. Don't make this the reason why you want vengeance. If don't make this the reason why you can't make friends. Go out and make friends. Go make some new ones. Get people to help you out. And the fact that Twilight's the one that offers a hoof as a form of that friendship, saying, hey, look, I'll be the first. I'll be the first to offer the olive branch and help you get back to what you are or what you can be. Again, it's a mixed reaction by a lot of folks because, one, the motivation for, like I said, for Starlight doing what she did is ridiculous. A lot of us have had friends. We still are friends with them, but they've all moved on to their own lives. It doesn't mean we just, let those friends that leave us and us leaving them, we don't let that absence affect us. And that's why a lot of people are kind of mixed about it. Like, the concept throughout, the different timelines and alternate realities are great and everything, but it's basically the ending, the reasoning as to why Starlight was doing what she did. But then on top of that, you have the redemption. Now, some are cool with it because they kind of see when you go into season 6 that season 6 is basically Starlight's redemption story, or her rehabilitation, as Katie Patterson, aka Midnight Sonata, pointed out in her in the reaction video her and Thespio did for season 6, or at least in the deleted extended scenes video they posted on Thespio's channel, Dal Wilsonator's channel. Basically, there are some that are cool with this because they decide, okay, well, let's see what season 6 is going to be. And season 6 is essentially, I think you can see it right off the beginning, is the start of her rehabilitation and her redemption. Because what does she do, or what does she attempt to do in that finale? Exactly. So, yeah, the cutie remark overall, in the eyes of a lot of people, potentially started out very good, had a great and interesting concept throughout. But what really brought it down to, for some people, was the reasoning behind Starlight's motivations for doing what she was doing, as well as the resolution and the redemption, if you will. So yeah, overall, it's just one of those finales that, it's mixed. Like, it starts out good, but for a majority of fans, it kind of comes down a little bit, especially like I said, when the revelation as to why uh, basically, basically what I'm trying to say is, and let me get some coffee here. We have to take a break and get another one. Hold on, in a moment, anyway. But like I said, the what brings it down, like, it starts out good in the eyes of a lot of folks with the interesting concepts of realities and different timelines of, that could occur, if this happened or that happened. But what brings it down, though, for a lot of folks is when Starlight reveals why she's doing what she's doing. The revelation basically as to why she's going as far as she's going to get rid of cutie marks. Why she wants everybody to be equal and stuff like that. And then, of course, the redemption at the end, which leads us into season 6, because basically it's in season 5 where Twilight does offer to teach Starlight. She decides to teach Starlight to kind of, about friendship, help her get back to that, be back to the pony she's always meant to be. And I'm sure, some fans weren't expecting her to be continued on into season 6. But again, if you look at, like I said, the previous episode that I talked about at the beginning, tying into season 4's premiere, well, Starlight's redemption that began at the end of season 5 carries in to the season 6 premiere and throughout season 6 itself. So yeah, at number 8, we have the cutie remark. Now, what is number 7? Excuse me. What is number 7? Well, that's an interesting one. But I think for me, number 7, excuse me there. Number 7 has to be, I'll let you know in a moment. I'm going to get me some coffee. Be right back, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back, but I'm probably going to get back up again because I'm letting my coffee make right now. But anyway, at number 7, I know some people, or a lot of people, like this one because it is the first season finale that we got. I have to go with Best Night Ever. Now, the reason I want to go with this one is because mainly the fact that, again, just like with Magic Mystery Cure, it's only 30 minutes. And it doesn't really have much significance to the rest of the show. I mean, yes, it does. Yes, it does have a continuity nod. And what about Discord and all that? So, and other episodes it's nodded at, but it really doesn't have too much significance. And it is kind of it is kind of a parody. Some people have actually talked about this. It is kind of a parody to kind of mocking Disney a little bit, with the way it's presented stuff, the way each character is presented in the episode, and and their ambitions. Especially like with Rarity, she wants to find her Prince Charming, but her Prince Charming turns out to be a dud, which is why I'm pretty sure a lot of Sparity fans were happy about that. You know what I'm saying? And especially with the fact that they did a nod to Rarity losing one of her glass slippers, and her going back there and Pinkie Pie noticing it, and it's like, oh look, Rarity, you left your glass slipper. Now your Prince Charming will find you, kind of something like that. And Rarity's like, runs back up there, stomps and breaks the glass slipper, and then grabs Pinkie and then leaves. So yeah, and it is memorable for being basically a mock, kind of a parody, a mocking of Disney, if you will. And I'll be right back. All right, but guys had to get me some more coffee. But anyway, like I was saying, it's basically a mock-up. It's basically Hasbro and DHX and everybody there just deciding, hey, let's take this finale and make a mockery of Disney. Just make fun of what Disney always stood for at the time, like happy endings and Prince Charmings and da 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 da. I mean, the fact that everything just backfires on just kind of backfires, blows up in the face of the entire group. It's really cool. I mean, especially Twilight's reaction when she sees what's happened, and and then she obviously sees that like I said, and what I'm trying to get is Twilight's reaction also at the end when she walks into there and it's like, uh-oh, because she's trying to make a good impression, but it's Celestia that tells her not only to run, and you kind of when she tells, and that's the one thing I don't think some people point out is when Celestia and Twilight walk into the gala or into the main hall and see what happened, and they've seen what's happened, and and Twilight's like Celestia is the one that has to tell her run, so, and that's what happens, and they end up running. They end up she and the rest of the main six end up leaving, but you can tell just by Celestia telling her to run, and then Celestia meeting up with them at Donut Joe's at the end, and explaining it's basically explaining that the reason she invited Twilight and her friends to come was hopefully they would do exactly what they did, and that's liven up the event because it's always boring. And this is again continuity nodded at in What About Discord, when Twilight reveals, hey, why do you think I invited Discord? And it's not only in this episode, in this finale, and along with that episode, I think was it season 5 or 6? What about Discord? Or did you start seeing a bit of personality out of Celestia? But it's just this one moment here where I think a lot of fans, even before we started to get those little moments here and there throughout the series up until about season 5 and 6, and then later on, basically, this is, in my opinion, how fans started to interpretate in fan art and fan fiction, or film fiction, if you will. They started to interpretate Celestia. They started to notice, hey, maybe there's more to this character than what's being led on. So yeah, best night ever. It's a good finale, but it's never really considered to be like a top tier one in the eyes of a lot of fans. I mean, some people may put it into the some people may put it into their top 5, and that's great. They want to do that. That's fine. I don't have if you feel it's a top 5 episode or a top 3 episode, that's your opinion. If you feel it's a top 5 or top 3 finale, that's your opinion. But to me, it ranks at number 7 because, again, it's only a half hour. It doesn't really have any significance in the following season, like any any nods or anything until, like I say, several seasons later on. So yeah, to me, it's just one of those episodes that I think, honestly, if you feel it should be ranked higher, in your opinion, then that's fine. But I feel that out of all the 9 finales we've had, this one has to rank here because, again, it doesn't have too much significance. I mean, the only continuity that it has within the first season is with Ticketmaster. And of course, that has moments in there, especially the ending, that if you're an Apple Spike fan and shipper, like a Disney fanatic is, that you're happy, that you're kind of cool, that these are moments that you're kind of cool with, you're kind of happy about, because it's like, oh, are they teasing? Because to you, you're thinking, oh, right, because to you, what I'm trying to say is, to you as a fan, you're thinking, oh, wait a minute. We know there's something with Rarity and Spike, or they're teasing something there, but are they now teasing something with Applejack and Spike as well? It's like, you start thinking that, especially when you go and rewatch the episodes. Now that the series is officially over, animation-wise, not comic book-wise, but animation-wise, basically you start going back and rewatching the episodes, and you're like, and when you see a moment like that in Ticketmaster, especially the ending, you're thinking, are they trying to tease Spike not only being interested in Rarity, but now maybe Applejack being interested in Spike? It's like, what? It's kind of weird. It's kind of confusing, but yeah, honestly though, that's the only connection within the season that continuity-wise has any significance with this episode, because even afterwards, like I said, the only nods to it are several seasons later. So overall, at number 7, best night ever, it's good. But again, the reason it's ranked here is mainly because of the fact that it is, just a half hour, and until several seasons later on, it doesn't have really any significance continuity-wise. I could be wrong. Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section below. And again, super chats are indeed open if you want to donate as well. Now, on to the 6th one, number 6. And number 6 is going to be To Where and Back Again. That's right, To Where and Back Again is at number 6. And even though some people might want to rank this a little higher, to me, it's all right. I mean, the twist towards the end, when you have the entire group that Starlight brings together to help rescue the main 6, or the main 7, if you will, and the princesses and everybody that's been captured. When you have the twist at the end that they are captured, is really something. It's really something. But overall, the finale was, I thought, okay. I mean, it was nice that it was nice that what the creative staff was doing, and this was just the beginning, obviously. But what the creative staff was doing was testing the waters with different characters to focus on outside of the main seven, the main six, if you will. So to have them start that here with Starlight and Thorax and Discord and Trixie, I thought was a good move. I thought it was okay. The fact that they could not rely on magic that much because, that's kind of like a magnet, if you will, to the Changeling Kingdom and for Chrysalis and stuff, and the throne, I guess, that Chrysalis was on feeds off of it. So I thought that was an interesting. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The ending though, like I said, you have not only do you have the twist of her group, most of her group being captured behind her back, and she finds this out when she goes right into the Changeling Hive, and not only sees the main seven and Celestia and Luda and Cadence and Sherry, all of them all cocooned inside these, all trapped within these slime cocoons, to where they'll basically Chrysalis has the plan to just feed on them for all eternity and everything. But also the fact that she notices that her friends that were accompanying her were also captured. And it's like, what is going on here? So, again, that was just one of the twists that you had. One of the twists that you had there. The other twist, though, was one, again, that just like with the redemption and the revelation in the season 5 finale, I was trying to think there what I was about to say. In the season 5 finale was kind of met with mixed reaction. The second twist here, where basically, Starlight figures out that, if you feed off love, what if you do it in reverse and you give love? What happens then? What if a changeling gives love instead of feeding off it? And then we see the end result, which is, they end up in a little cocoon temporarily, and then they come out with a new form. And some people will kind of mixed about that, obviously, because they're like, really? So, hold on for a sec. Guys, just checking something. But again, a lot of people are like, really? So this is how you're going to reform the changelings, by basically having them do what they've been doing throughout the series, but do it in reverse, do the exact opposite. Instead of feeding, giving. This is how you're going to redeem them. So again, it was kind of met with mixed reaction, and mostly the redesign of the changelings when it came to them, kind of going through that redemption by giving love instead of feeding, was also met with mixed reaction, because some people even, there was some fans that, from what I understand, maybe I'm wrong, that felt that by giving the changelings these kind of designs as part of their redemption, with them going the opposite way and giving love instead of feeding it. Some people felt that, and I say this with no offense, felt like it was Hasbro's way of acknowledging the LGBTQ community because of some of the designs that the changeling characters were given. So yeah, it was a kind of an interesting concept to go with. The one thing that fans are thankful for, though, when it comes to this finale, is they did not redeem Chrysalis. I mean, it looked like they were going to. I mean, the fact that they were teasing it, and again, if you go to Dalwalsinator's YouTube page, you look up season 6 finale reactions. You see him and Katie, Midnight Sonata. Basically, when they see, Starlight offering the hand of friendship, hoof of friendship, to Chrysalis and trying to basically get her to redeem. You notice, you go and watch that finale, and basically you have Katie and you have Tess going like, no, going like, show, you better not do what I think you're about to do. Ooh, and Katie's like, don't you, even freaking, even effing dare, if you know what I mean. And it looks like, and the reaction basically by the two, when it looks like it's about to happen, you're hearing them go like, no, 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 no. And then finally you get to that part where Chrysalis slaps the hoof away, Starlight's hoof away. And it's like, well, and they are like, oh, thank God. And everything, because if there's any villain in the show that everybody agrees with is beyond redemption, it's Chrysalis. Even though a lot of people have come out and said, hey, this is what the concept of, this is the design concept of what Chrysalis could look like redeemed. And they're all going off the fact that if you go and read the IDW comic, there's a multi-part event. It's kind of like a mirror world event, where on one side of a mirror you have the prime Equestria world, but on the other side you have the exact opposite of them. Like on one side you have, on one side you have the prime world of Equestria, where everybody's who they are, how they act. But on the other side of the mirror, you have the exact opposite. You have the darker world. You have the characters be exactly the opposite of who they are. And it's not just the main seven character. It's not just the main seven characters, but it's also Celestia. It's also Cadence. It's also Shining Armor. It's Chrysalis, which was the big one. Exactly the opposite of who they are in the prime Equestria world. So a lot of fans were, like I said, relieved that she wasn't redeemed, although fans pretty much felt that time was coming. But guess what? It never did. Could it come in the comic down the line? We never, one never knows for sure. Anyway, like I said, a lot, they, and I'm sure a lot of fans were very thankful that didn't happen or anything. But yeah, besides that, though, it's a decent finale. I'm not going to knock it or anything, because, again, like I said, they were attempting something a little different, that instead of usually focusing the finale on the main group, that instead they decided to go in the other direction and focus on these other characters, along, with the twist or the double twist at the end of not only these characters that you were focusing on, a majority of them captured as well and cocooned, but then you also had the way the changelings were redeemed in the end, how you went the exact opposite of what they do, and that is, instead of feeding off love, they give love. So yeah, that was an interesting concept, in my opinion, that they did. But yeah, it's basically, when people rank, episodes, especially two-parters, when it comes to this show, again, just like with Magic Mystery Cure, this is not looked at as one of the highest ranked episodes, finales they could do, or one of the best finales they could do. The only credit they give them is, trying something different by focusing on these other characters instead of just the usual main group, which is a good concept, because you want to expand and develop these other characters. You want to do that. So, again, cool concept in the end. The only mixed reaction that brought it down a little bit for a lot of people was the double twist. Basically, how can, this group of people, this Suicide Squad, as they call it, because that's basically how they looked at it. They looked at it as being like a MLP version of the DC Comics Suicide Squad. How can most of them be captured behind her back? That how can most of them be captured, behind her back? So So yeah, it's one of those interesting scenarios right there. Interesting scenario and twist. But then, of course, you had that other twist of how, the changelings are redeemed. So again, it starts out good, has a great concept, but then to a lot of people, kind of gets dragged down a little bit. So overall, though, it's okay, and that's why it's an alright episode, and that's why I rank it at number 6. Now, number 5. Now we're going to get on to number 5 here, get into the top 5. Number 5 is School Raise. That's right. Even though I like the finale, School Raise, it's good. We pretty much knew, obviously, when Cozy Glow was introduced around the second to last episode of the first half of season 8, we kind of knew that something was up with her. I mean, the fact that especially when you have a magazine come out, and this was reported by Equestria Daily, you have a magazine come out and basically give away the fact of, oh, guess who the new villain is? Ding, 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 ding. It's this one. It's this character. It's this little Pegasi Philly. And you're like, really? This is your main villain at the end of the season? So, yeah, basically, even though we kind of knew it, even before she officially debuted, her motivation in season 8, some people look at Starlight's motivation for what she was doing in the QD remark as being kind of ridiculous. Like, really? So you're going to doom all space and time and the universe, as you once quoted, or you once looked at it as? Just because of this reasoning, and you didn't decide to move on and find new people, find new friends. So, that's kind of how they look at. So basically, that's kind of how they look at Cozy Glow's motivation in season 8, in a sense, being very identical and similar. But the only credit that they give Cozy Glow, believe it or not, is, she planned. She had a plan in mind. And even when that plan would kind of get sidetracked, she would always find a way to get it back on track, just like that, which was really interesting, which was an interesting situation and concept for a villain. The fact that, okay, they realized, all right, what I was saying, and the fact that what was I trying to say? Oh, yeah. Basically, they liked the fact that it was an interesting concept for a villain to be like, okay, my plans got a little derailed, but I'm going to get them back on track, and I know how to do it. I mean, take a look at some of the scenarios in season 8, in the finale. She perceives that Starlight's going to go with Twilight and the rest of the main 7 to Tartarus, right? She perceives that. But that doesn't happen. Instead, she finds out Starlight's going to stay behind as the sub-head mayor, as the alternate head mayor, if you will. So what does Cozy Glow do? Cozy Glow's like, okay, I got to figure out a way to get her out of the way now. And she comes up with an idea. And she does what she does. And then later on, we see what she's done. And to get Starlight out of the way. And then another situation was when she turned the tables on Naysay. Naysay's out there and addressing the students and saying, this is what's going to happen now. I'm in charge. This is only going to be a school for ponies only, da-da-da. And then you have Cozy Glow turn the tables on him and turn the students against him. So yeah, it's like when you see a villain basically, turn the tables on someone or come up with a plan on the fly when her original plans start to get a little derailed, that's really cool. That's a really interesting concept to go with. The other thing I liked about it was, again, it didn't rely mostly on the main 7 to, finish the job or anything. That instead, it relied on the characters you pretty much knew were going to be the focal point at the end as they were at the beginning. And that was, as they were called, the young six, the student six. Sambar, Gallus, Ocellus, Yona, Smolder, and who was the other one? Let's see, Sambar. Yeah, Sambar. So Sambar, Yona, Gallus, Ocellus, Smolder. I think that's the young six, right? Sambar, Smolder, Ocellus, Yona, Gallus. Oh, Silverstream, right? Silverstream. I know somebody was going to probably tell me that. So yeah, you have those characters focused on at the beginning of the season. You have Sambar, Yona, Silverstream, Smolder, Ocellus, and Gallus basically focused on at the beginning becoming friends. And then obviously knowing they're going to get focused on at the beginning, you pretty much are clued in as to the fact that, okay, they're going to be focused on in the finale. And they are, because then you get several episodes throughout the season, which focuses on them as well. And pardon me for a second while I go check something. So yeah, like I said, when you have them focused on at the beginning, you pretty much know, okay, they're probably going to be focused on somewhat throughout the rest of the season and be a major focal point in the finale. And guess what? That's exactly what they are. They're a major focal point in the finale, which is pretty cool. And I thought they were presented very well. I mean, the fact that you have Sambar basically pretend to turn on his friends just so he can help his friends. And, even most of his friends like Silverstream and Yona, kind of being like, believing that he didn't turn against him. And then for him to show up and say, basically confirm that and say, yeah, I'm still with you guys, kind of deal. It was cool. It was cool to see. And it was also nice to see the CMCs, Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle, Scootaloo. It was nice to see them get a role in here and play up to the connection with Cozy Glow, because when Cozy Glow got introduced, who's the one that she associated with in her debut, and that who's the one that she associated in her debut, which I think was, what was it, Marks for Effort, I think. It was the CMC. So it was nice to see that connection. Even though she kind of saw through what they were doing, because obviously they knew what she was up to now. It was kind of cool still. It was kind of cool still to see that played upon, that continuity connection from the earlier half of the season being alluded to and connected to here in the finale. The other interesting concept is, when you think about it, School Race also served as a bit of a sequel to another one I'm going to talk about in a little bit, because you had the revelation that Tirek was also involved, and that for some odd reason, Tirek and Cozy Glow were able to communicate through pen pal letters, and Tirek, through these letters, was able to help Cozy Glow come up with the idea of how to drain the magic from Equestria so that she could accomplish her goal. And this is where a lot of people, just like with the Cutie remark and the revelation of Starlight's plan, kind of see the similarities. Now they do admit that one of the similarities is both tried to stay a step ahead of the protagonist and all that. But the difference with Cozy Glow is the difference between Cozy Glow and Starlight is Cozy Glow was able to come up with, plans and ideas to turn the tables in her favor, even when it looked like her original plans were going to be derailed. She was able to come up with something on the fly. Like I said, take a look at what she did to Starlight by pushing her into this orb thing. Take a look at her turning the student body against Naysay, stuff like that. And it's like, okay, that's, pretty intelligent for a villain to be able to turn the tables on somebody right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Right on the bat right off the bat to try to keep things going in their favor. And again, it's like I said, it's really, it's a really a big contrast, it's a real contrastic difference between the two, because yes, Starlight throughout season 5 was planning. She was following Twilight, planning planning out her strategy to get revenge and everything, and be able to try to outmaneuver Twilight. But the thing is, she never had a way of, kind of coming up with an alternative idea to try to derail Twilight from derailing her plans. I mean, yeah, she may have been able to stay a step ahead of Twilight by making a time portal pop up here and there at times to get her out of the way, but still, she didn't come up with other alternative plans to be like, okay, this is not working, I got to come up with something different, and then she would, because she didn't. Cozy Glow, on the other hand, would. It's like Cozy Glow saw, like I said, with Starlight, Starlight remaining behind, like, okay, now I got to find a way to get her out of the way. Boom, she comes up with a scenario and an idea to how to do that. So, again, it's it's a big contrastic difference, but the similarity that, like I say, some people will look at it, look at between the two, is the fact that the motivations are kind of weird. It's like with Starlight, she was upset that Sunburst moved on. He got his cutie mark before her. He moved on before she did. Or he got his cutie mark before her instead of at the same time. He moved on without her instead of with her. So basically, when people look at the similarity, if you will, between the two, it's because when you look at Cozy Glow's motivation as to why she's draining Equestria of its magic and everything, it's because she wants to become the Empress of Friendship. She wants to be the one that has more friends than any pony or creature in Equestria. I mean, the fact that she, even tells Twilight this at the end, that, hey, as headmistress, I can collect more friends than you. It's like, that's a strange reasoning. Why would you want to do that? What's the it's like, because you're questioning what's the motivation behind it. It's like, what's the motivation to wanting to get more friends than Twilight and be the Empress of Friendship? That, or the Empress of Equestria and stuff, and everything. What's your motivation? Why do that? And again, it's a weird, like I said, it's a weird thing to look at. Kind of question. It's like, what's the point? What's the reasoning? Anyway, though, the one positive that a lot of people will look at is that when you look at a lot of the villains that have been around that have yet to be redeemed, and Cozy Glow was the third, believe it or not, villain as far as we know, third or fourth one that has not been redeemed. The one positive people take away from this episode is Cozy Glow is probably one of the best villains they've had in a while, because she's she basically proved, especially in the later half of season 8, she could be manipulative. She can make characters believe anything she says. and that she's always finds a way to still stay one step ahead. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that for a series to have a villain like that, that basically, as I mentioned, is always able to find a way to come up with a last second idea to keep things on track the way they want. So, and again, it was nice to focus on another set of group of characters besides the main seven, and in this case being the young six, the student six, because again, you knew that with the premiere focusing on them becoming friends and everything, and some episodes focusing on them throughout the season, you knew the finale potentially focusing on them or having them being a major part of it. Being a major part of it, you knew that it was going to. Well, what I'm trying to say is, when you have the finale, or the premiere, I should say, focusing on this new group of characters becoming friends, the young six, student six, you knew that the finale they were going to play somewhat into the finale, and they did. In fact, they were the ones that saved Equestria. They're the ones that saved Equestria. So that's kind of the cool concept when you really think about it. Well, that's a really interesting and cool concept when you think about it. That they're the ones that saved Equestria, and they just became friends within that school year that they did it in. So, yeah, even though just like with Starlight's motivations and in the season 5 finale were kind of confusing for a lot of people, if not ridiculous. The same could be said for Cozy Glows. But again, the big difference, though, is that even though Starlight tried to stay a step ahead at times, but never did, Cozy Glow was always always found a way to do that, which made her, in a lot of people's eyes, a very believable villain. So, pretty cool. So now at number 4, now that we're done with number 5, now we're going to move on to number 4. Number 4 is Shadow Play. I know some people might say, well, you should reverse the numbers and all that on 5 and 4, but I thought Shadow Play was good because it did kind of still rely on the main 7 or main 8 in this case, as well as it did follow through on something that we thought it wouldn't follow through on finally, and that's finally officially introduced Star Swirl to the realm of MLP FIM. But also introduce these other characters that in a previous episode, Campfire Tales, were only thought to be legend and fiction and real, but actually real. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see that. But it wasn't just, Twilight and Starlight and the rest of the main group that was involved in this. You also had Sunburst, which tied into the episode that came before it, which was Uncommon Bond, especially the ending with the grab bag or grab barrel that had the Star Swirl's journal in it. So that was cool. And it also had a lot of nods to continuity, which Voice of Reason, when they did a reaction video to that, which you can't really see anymore unless you see people's reactions to that reaction video, which is the season 7 finale, which is, again, number 4 here. He loves the idea that continuity is being acknowledged all over the place. He likes the fact that when the main group, the main 6 or the rest of the main 6 confronts Star Swirl after Star Swirl kind of, basically ignores or kind of dismisses one of Twilight's ideas. I like the fact that you have the whole group, and it's a great scene. I talk about that Celestia Luna scene from Between Dark and Dawn where they burst through the doors of the council room and the Castle of Friendship, and how they have that smug, confident, badass look to them, which I consider a badass moment. Excuse my language. I do apologize. I don't think it'll cause any demonetization. Hopefully, please God, no. But that kind of BA moment, if you will. I like the fact that basically you have a very similar moment. You have a very similar moment to. Let me hold on for a second while I do this. You have a very similar moment here with the girls telling um, having the girls basically tell Starswell off, or basically tell him to his face, "Hey, don't underestimate Twilight before you have a chance to, allow her to explain, you know, why this will work, or why this, why it's going to work and all that. And don't write her off. Don't write off any of her ideas before you have a chance to look them over." Which finally he does, and he does finally acknowledge, okay, that does sound like a good idea. I didn't think about that. So it's one of those scenarios. So it's just, but again, it's a moment that you really like, that really makes this episode stand out. I mean, even Josh Scorcher, when he did the review originally for his Josh Scorcher channel, which you can now also see at his Fab Equestria channel, there were several moments in here where he's like, yeah, this is actually pretty good for these characters. One, for example, when Rainbow Dash is confronting Garble, basically she acknowledges, wow, you must be slow. All Spike had to do to beat you was fall down. And Josh's reaction is, wow, we sure Rainbow ain't the real fire? Something like, Josh's reaction is, wow, we sure Rainbow ain't the real dragon here? Because she's spitting fire. And then later on, part of that scene where you have most of them, telling Starswell off and basically saying, hey, you'll watch it there. This girl comes up with better ideas than you even can think of. That basically when they're telling them off, you have, from a continuity standpoint, you have Rainbow Dash hold up one of Twilight's wings saying, yeah, she got and by the way, she got her rings by finishing one of your spells. And going back to, like I said, Josh talking about Rainbow Dash, the Rainbow Dash's role in this finale, because like I said, when he mentioned how she seemed to him when she told Garble off, or kind of mocked Garble, if you will, then after this moment, he's like, wow, first she's spitting fire, now she's on fire. Because basically Rainbow is being exactly the way Rainbow is in the eyes of a lot of fans. She's basically telling it like it is. And she's telling Starswell, hey, you're going to dismiss Twilight here? A girl that basically earned her alicorn wings because she had to finish a spell you never did. So it's kind of cool to see that. Like I said, it's kind of cool to see that, if you will. But overall, it's great. It's really great. Now, yes, it does deal with a villain redemption. We find out that the villain is named Stygian. He's the one that brought the group, the original Guardians of Harmony, as you want to call them, the Pillars, together. But basically felt left out. Like, everybody was celebrating the Pillars for saving the day on several occasions. And he just felt left out. And what did he do? He did something that obviously was the fault of him, was on him a little bit, but also kind of on the fault of the Pillars, because, the Pillars never gave him a chance to explain why he had taken the magical items. Because all they assumed was, oh, he wanted it for himself. But then you get the moment when Twilight goes into the Pony of Shadows, because they're trying to banish the Pony of Shadows back into limbo. You see Stygian trying to escape because he doesn't want to suffer that fate. You have Twilight going in there, confronting Stygian, bringing up what Starswell mentioned, and then you have Stygian saying, no, that's not true. That's not true. Here's, you basically have Stygian telling Twilight, no, that's not true at all. You see, and you basically have Stygian mentioning, and I like the fact, I love this, because, like I said, you have Twilight going into the Pony of Shadows because she sees Stygian trying to come out. She brings up what Starswell said to them, and then you have Stygian basically explaining finally, no, that's not true at all. And when he mentions that, he starts explaining everything, because Twilight's like, but Starswell said you wanted to use the powers against them and Isdom and all that. And then Stygian finally, again, when he says, no, that's not true at all, and then Twilight brings up, well, Starswell said you wanted to do this, Stygian's like, no. What I wanted was the respect, And Stygian brings up the fact that, look, I may have not been as powerful as them, have the abilities that they did, but all I wanted was the respect. And I figured that if I made copies of the weapons, of the amulet, of the magical items for myself, that I could help them. I could stand by their side and work with them. And the reaction you get from the pillars, like you see, Miss Maines, and Meadowbrook's reaction. Like Meadowbrook takes off her mask. She's wearing her mask. She takes it off and looks at Miss Maines. She's like, oh my God, we made a mistake. She's like, she has this shocked expression of like, oh my Celestia, we made a mistake. And in Starswell's reaction when he's hearing this, and he's hearing, Stygian finally explaining the reasoning, he's like, he's got that same he's got a shock reaction too, like, oops, maybe I should have listened to him. Maybe I should have heard him out. And I love it. And I love Starlight's reaction when, Starswell has that surprised look on his face when he finally hears the real reasoning behind Stygian behind Stygian doing what he did. I love that look on Starlight. She just looks at Starswell like, yeah, see, told you. Or like something like, yeah, see. It's like she doesn't say anything, but she has that look at him like, it's like, uh-huh. Now what? And so yeah, the episode was good in my opinion. I liked it. Again, it did have a redeemed villain because, yes, Stygian got redeemed because we find out that the whole situation with him being corrupted by the Pony of Shadows and stuff was because of a misunderstanding between him and the Pillars. And that all they had to do was talk it out. All it had to be was like, look, listen to me. I only have these items because I want to make copies of them so I can fight alongside you. So there you go. And I think they would I don't know what it was. Maybe it's me, guys, but when you had the Pillars, most of them, telling the story of what they perceived at that time to have happened with what they perceived to be his betrayal, Stygian's, you hear Somnambula say that when he came back corrupted and everything, it dashed even any hopes she had for him. And you're thinking, well, wait a minute, why is she the one why is she specifically singling herself out, saying that, when he came back the way he was, it dashed any hope she had? And I was thinking to myself, are they hinting at maybe she had a thing for him? And vice versa? I don't know. It's kind of strange that she's the one that she brought up. That instead of saying something along the lines of, when he came back, he dashed any hope we had left in him. She singles herself out by saying any hope I had in him. So it makes you wonder, were they basically acknowledging perhaps something being there between the two that was more than friendship. Again, it makes you really think, if you will. Was there a teasing there or something? But overall, I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. And again, I know some people might say I should swap the two, if you will, but I thought this was a bit better than the one that came after it. So yeah, Shadow Play was great. I love the fact that you had Star Swirl reunite at the end, finally reunite with Celestia and Luna kind of joking of, basically joking of essays that they have long overdue or something. So that's kind of cool and everything. So it's kind of cool, and I like it. I really do. So I thought it was great, and that's all I could say. That's all I can really say on it. And on it about Shadow Play at number 4. So number three. Number three. Number three. It's hard because these next two, one should be in one position, one should be in the other. But number 3 is a Canterlot Wedding. That's right, Canterlot Wedding. Everybody looked at this basically, especially with the song that came in, I think, what was it, part 2, called The Day Awry or Day Ari. They looked at this as being the two-parter, along with the music it had in it, especially the Day Ari song, as the one that showcased and Firebrand, aka Josh Scorcher, when he did his top 15 countdown of best and worst songs of the show, when he ranked this at number 7, I think, he said basically that when the song The Day Ari hit in this two-parter is when you knew this show was going to be big. And I have to agree with that. I have to agree because when you have, and it doesn't matter if it's an animated series or an animated movie, or even a live action musical or whatever, or a Broadway musical. When you have the villain and the heroine singing simultaneously almost the same song, but different versions of it at the same time, but matching it up in a way that's perfect, then you know that, they're onto something. You know that not only is the lyricist that put it together onto something, but you know that the studio, that the company, the creative staff is onto something as well when it comes to what it's connected to. And in this case, Canterlot Wedding, along with this song, really put MLP on the map. If the first season didn't do it, and a majority of this two-parter didn't, and if the two-part season 2 premiere and then the rest of season 2 didn't do it, this right here, Canterlot Wedding, did it. Canterlot Wedding did it. It put MLP on the map. No doubt about it. Put Friendship is Magic on the map with the introduction of a villain that you can't redeem and an enemy that you knew was probably going to make a return in the future. It put it on the map by expanding on the world of Equestria and introducing newer characters like Twilight's brother, Shining Armor, new character Cadence, and the connection that they have. Finally having Celestia, even if it was in defeat, put up a fight against Crystallis. It had everything you were wanting. You even had a reprise of a song that Twilight sang earlier about her and her brother being BB or BFFFFs or whatever for life. So it's really, really, really good. It's really good. And I can't say any more. If you want my opinion, if you want others' opinions, I say check them out. but it's a really good finale. It really is. It's a really good finale, especially for a second season. Because again, when you have, and like I said, Josh Scorcher brought this up best in his top 15 countdown. When you have a song like Day-Ari or Day-Ari performed the way it was, and you have a very well renowned Brony um, Brony and overall fan in Josh Scorcher saying, "Hey, this song when it hit showed that this show was going to be bigger than what they perceived." Then you're onto something. You know you are onto something, and that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So, in my opinion, I can't say any more about Cantaloupe Wedding. The song Love is in Bloom also is iconic. It comes from the finale. It is a song that if you're an MLP fan and you have a wedding that's MLP related because you met your fiance at a convention or you met your fiance through internet connections and you found out you both have a love for Friendship is Magic, then this song was obviously played at your wedding. You don't believe me? Take a look at, you don't believe me? Go and ask the Wilsonators, Thespio, Katie Patterson, Midnight Sonata, because I'm pretty sure it was played at theirs because somebody basically put on their car, I think it was all dusted or something, it was put with, or somebody put glitter or something on it, spelled out with their fingers, Love is in Bloom. So, you don't believe me? Check that out. And honestly, even ask Josh Scorcher and Ari the or Aramount the fiery secretary, his wife. I'm pretty sure it was played at theirs. But overall, I can't say any more about this. You want other people's opinion? Check out reactions to it. You can find them. Check out reviews to it. You can find them, and you'll probably hear more positive responses to what I to what this episode is like. To add to what I'm saying right now. So go check it out. But number 3, I know people might say it should go higher, but number 3, Cantaloupe Wedding. And the reason it's at number 3 is because at number 2 is Twilight's King. Is it Twilight's Kingdom? Yeah, it's Twilight's Kingdom. I think that's what it is. Let me make sure of that. Let me make sure of that. Yeah, but number 2 is the season 4 finale, Twilight's Kingdom. See what it is. Yeah, Twilight's Kingdom. And the reason this is at number 2 is because Cantaloupe Wedding may have put MLP on the map. May have put MLP on the map overall with being as big as it was going to become. But if you really want to cross promote Friendship is Magic as being for everybody, not just girls, not just young girls, not just young kids overall, but for everybody. Kids, teens, adults. You want an episode, you want something that's going to do that? Twilight's Kingdom does it. Twilight's Kingdom does it, and it does it because of one reason. One reason that stands out in the eyes of a lot of people, and that is the fight between Twilight and Tirek. Basically, Twilight gets infused with the magic of the other princesses because they know Tirek has escaped and he's going to come for them. So you basically have this big old fight commence, Dragon Ball Z style, Kami Kami High, as some people call it, between Tirek and Twilight. And it's, from what I have seen, just clip-wise, I have to agree. Because if you would have told me that we were going to have a fight between a main hero in the series and a villain that was not kid friendly in a sense, that was not kiddified in any way, and that would warrant this as being the only, and I'm sure I'm correct on this, the only two-parter in Friendship is Magic to have the TVY7 rating slapped on it. Then obviously you're on to something. Obviously you know what you're doing, and they knew what they were doing because they knew, okay, Canterlot Redding in season 2 put us on the map because of the music and everything. That's fine. But if we're really going to get across that this show is for everybody, not just young girls or kids or anything, but for everybody of all ages, it's got something for everybody, then we got to make Twilight's Kingdom in this finale be that reasoning, or be that story that does it. And it did. It did exactly that. It was amazing. Again, just like with Canterlot Wedding, I can't say any more than what other people have said. Because when they did pretty much a rematch later on, many seasons later, although it's just a brief rematch, you had people like the Lost Narrator and Little Shy FIM and several others being like, oh, goody, here we go again. Jack's Blade, like, oh boy, here we go again. Season 4 all over again. It's like, it's basically it's just one of those moments in the series that, again, if people say Canterlot Wedding along with the Day for as one of the songs and reasonings, MLP got put on the map as being something big, this definitely solidified it by saying it was not just going to be something big, but it was going to be a show for everyone. It was going to have something for everybody. And this two-parter did it, and especially the fight between Tyrek and Twilight did it. So it was really cool. And what I liked about it, and I'm sure folks like Lightning Bliss liked it, Silver Quill liked it, anybody that grew up in the 80s, 90s, and whatever liked it, was the callback to how Tyrek was defeated. Tyrek was defeated the same way his G1 version was defeated, and that's through the magic of the rainbow. That's right. Basically, throughout season 4, it's hinted at, well, not hinted at, but there are certain episodes to where the main 6 go through these trials, and then when they finally realize, the truth, if you will, the real purpose as to what needs to be done, you get these rainbow reflections in their eyes that solidify that they understand, that they've achieved the key to the rainbow power, and the final key is given to Twilight by Discord. And why? Because Discord finally realizes what the importance of friendship really is, because he was manipulated into joining Tyrek's side, turning bad again, to only find out Tyrek was going to betray him anyway. But besides that, and the continuity connection to all the episodes throughout the season, and the season itself is looked at as probably one of the better seasons, because you have a beginning which pretty much hints at what we're going to get at the finale at the end of the season, and then you have all those episodes for the main 6 where they have those moments of truth given to them that can, basically unlocks or gives them the key to unlock the rainbow power, which is really cool, which is really, really cool and everything, because, again, it's a nice nod to the G1 Rescue from Midnight Castle pilot, where the original Tyrek was defeated the same way. So, again, I like Canterlot Wedding. I can't say any more than what I'm saying now, guys, because, again, it's a nice nod and everything to G1 and everything, to G1. Like I said, it's a nice nod. And I highly recommend. If you want anybody else's thoughts on it and reactions, excuse me, check out YouTube. You'll definitely get some reaction, big time reactions. Um, when it comes to this. So overall, can't say any more than that. Again, can't say any more than that. And that's really about it. So on to number one, and obviously number one, obviously number one, it should be no secret what it is. It's the series finale, the ending of the end, and last problem. And I've said what I've had to say about it in my review that I did last year. I said what I've had to say in my review that I did last year on it. And everybody else has said what they've had to say about it. It's again, I can't. I mean, you want a great finale, a perfect finale, or near perfect finale to any series. This is it. I mean, look, are there some moments in there that again make you question? What was this about? Why did you go this route? Are there those moments in there? Absolutely, there are those moments in there. I mean, again, people even a year later don't like the idea that Grogar, this powerful G1 villain that was hyped up to be coming in to the series soon, was really Discord in disguise. But as I've talked about recently in a video, I think Grogar was the original plan, but somewhere midway between the writings for the scripts for the mid-season finale between Dark and Dawn, I think around that time frame is when they decided to kind of switch things up and say, nope, instead of going with Grogar, let's just say it was Discord, and here's the reasoning why. And honestly, that, in my opinion, that's the truth. That's the truth, in my opinion, that I think it was, I think, honestly, that was the original plan. They're not going to come out and say that, of course, but again, I think that was the original plan, that the originally was going to go with Grogar the entire time, but then halfway through the script writing and developing of the stories, they decided to go with the Discord reveal. But besides that being the one moment, it did not deter away from what was a great finale. It was a great finale, just perfect, just great to a T. There's no doubt about it. I mean, everybody got a chance to somewhat shine and have a moment. From Starlight finally having a confrontation and fight with Crystalis, to the Pillars trying to confront Tyrek, which they could have done more, especially tie into the history of Starswirl and Tyrek. To Cozy Glow facing off against the main seven, and it's like everybody had a chance to shine. Even the princesses, Celestia and Luna, without their powers, got a chance to shine. Even Cadence in Shining Armor, for the small role they had a chance to shine. But it was just great. It was just an overall great finale. I mean, I can't say any more than what I've said before in my review that I did last year. I don't, I can't say any more than what other people have said. I mean, honestly, being a Sparity fan, I love the moment where when they were in that final confrontation with the villains, you had Rarity and Spike team up, kind of combine their powers, the Fire Breath and, Rarity's magic. And just briefly, they were actually holding off Crystalis before she just flew, flew back a little bit and just shot a big old blast at them. So again, I love that moment. It was just overall just good, just really, really good. And look, I understand that some people may be a little mixed about the whole petrify, solidify the enemies in stone, especially Cozy Glow. But there are people like Silver Quill that will come out and say, yeah, but you have to remember Silver Quill just tried to murder, annihilate, finish off, disintegrate the main group. She just tried to kill them. And sorry for saying that word. If hopefully nothing happens, but she just tried to off our main heroes. And here's the thing: he can point back to the season 8 finale when he almost did it to Starlight by trapping her in that orb. So, yeah, there are several reasonings that, again, people like Silver Quill would be justified in saying, yeah, you might be upset about it, but remember, she just tried to off the main hero and her friends right in the middle of her, speeching or talking, if you will. So yeah, again, it's just one of those scenarios to where you could be mixed about the what happens to the villains, but still, it's like, it's a nice callback. It's a nice callback because who's the one that suggests to Celestia and Luna once they get their magic back to go in that direction, and who's suggested and while suggesting it, asks to help them out? It's Discord, because Discord realizes the only way you're going to actually get these villains out of your hair for a while, until maybe you could teach them a lesson in being good and try to redeem them, is to petrify them. And that's what they did. Now, the other thing people liked about it was the nice callback at the end, well, with the ending of the end portion of the finale, with the, as Rarity puts it, the post-apocalyptic donuts that they share at Donut Joe's. So it was a nice callback to the season 1 finale and how that ended a very similar way. Now, as far as Last Problem, which is also part of the finale, I thought it was good. It's a nice change of pace because you already got the action portion out of the way. You got the fights and everything out of the way. Now you could basically have a bit of an epilogue, bit of a relaxing moment and everything. And again, I thought it was great. I thought, in my honest opinion, it was a nice blending of, what would the future and basically the past. Because what we had was, we saw a future timeline. A lot of people considered, and heck, they even put this transition in there called Many Moons Later, or Many Years Later. You have this transition into the future where you see a buff up Spike, or some people call it a Chad Spike, like, if you will, and you have basically a solidified Alicorn Twilight now, who some people looked at as being nothing more than a Celestia redo, but with Twilight's design on top of it. So overall, I thought it was nice because not only do you get pretty much what you get here is you get the introduction of Twilight's top student called Luster Dawn, and you kind of get the idea of exactly where they're going with this. And basically it's kind of hinted at, if not fully hinted at or acknowledged, that history is going to repeat itself, but maybe without less trouble. But again, I thought it was great. I thought it was a good balancing because Starlight's telling the story of her coronation and how, nothing's ever perfect and everything. And, about, telling the story about her coronation and how she was going to be away from her friends and, this and that. So it was nice. It was a nice blend of going back and forth. And it was also nice to see exactly what the characters look like in the future. It was nice to see that Pinky, surprisingly, out of all the characters, became a mom and everything, which I guess kind of fits in her character, would which would fit for her character, because it's like, well, honestly, when you look at the main 7 or the main 6, you have hinted, if not recently in this last season, that there is something between her and Cheese Sandwich. So why not go all the way with it? And they did. I like the fact that Rarity is, kind of still the same, except a little bit of silver in her mane, which obviously, if she wanted to, is in her mane and her tail, which obviously, if she wanted to, she could use her magic and die, and nothing would really look like it's out of place. Ace and stuff like that. Love the fact that it's pretty much. I love the fact that we're pretty much confirmed, if not implied, that we have Applejack and Rainbow Dash as an LGBTQ couple. Fans have been wanting that, and I guess they finally got it. And then, of course, Fluttershy and Discord obviously implied, and if not semi-confirmed, that they're together. So it's nice to see where they all are at the time. Like, Fluttershy is obviously living in between her world and Discord's world. Applejack and Rainbow Dash are living together, LGBTQ. Rainbow Dash is now captain of the Wonderbolts. Pinky, like I said, is a mom as well as head, I guess now the main mayor in charge of the Sugar Cube Corner. She's taking over for the cakes, if you will. You have Applejack is now finally the head mayor of the Apple Acres, even though you might say she was already that, but in fact it was actually Granny Smith when you think about it. So it was nice to see basically an idea of where they all were and everything. So and then Spike, of course, being the ambassador of friendship, royal advisor, as well as the ambassador of friendship, I think. It's really cool because now, I was trying to think about something. That's why I was looking down for a moment, trying to think what I was going to say. Sorry about that. But anyway, it's really cool to see that with him, because obviously it shows that he's got to go to all these different places and make sure there's peace between certain, races or creatures. Like, he references Abyssinians and Diamond Dogs. Is trying to keep peace between them not being easy. So it's kind of cool to see that. And I do like the fact that, despite what you might think, I like the fact that in the finale, and I don't know if you can see it from here, I like the fact that it does kind of, in my opinion, confirm, or at least kind of maybe acknowledge maybe that there is something between him and Rarity. That there's something beyond that. Maybe they did get together, but because of their jobs right now, it's kind of like a long distance relationship, but maybe they get together more so than anyone else. I also like the fact that, again, you obviously know where this is all leading to, with basically history repeating itself. And yes, I saw the reaction of Lost Narrator and some of the others on the Bronies React, and they're like, really? We're doing this again? Really? We're going to do this? We're just going to repeat history? And yeah, that's basically what's going to happen. But I like the fact that when it ends, it's left to your imagination as to what the next direction is going to be and everything. But it also implies that Luster Dawn is going to pretty much do the same thing. Luster Dawn's going to take over for Twilight, like Twilight took over for Celestia and Luna. Luster Dawn and her friends are going to do the same thing, and then, rinse and repeat. Someone's going to take over for Luster Dawn. It kind of gives you that implication that, Luster Dawn's going to be the next in line to rule Equestria along with her friends, and then later, and then the same thing after her and all that. But what I did like about it was also the song called Magic of Friendship Grows, which I have, believe it or not, on my phone. I do have it on my phone, and I love listening to it. It's a great song. I like that you have the montage of all the characters at the end, that was associated with certain members of the main 6. Like when you have Rainbow Dash, like when you have Pinkie Pie go across, you see all the characters associated with her, as well as her family, Emily, and all that, and her sisters and everything. And then the same thing with Rainbow Dash, all the characters associated with her from like the Wonderbolts, Bolts, and everything. You have that, and then you have Applejack and her characters and family associated with her. Same with Rarity, same with Fluttershy, and then even of course Twilight. So I like those little group montages they had at the end when the characters would go across the screen individually. What I also liked about the finale was we got to see what other characters were. I love the fact that Lyra and Bonbon were officially married, because if you watch the Big Mac question in the background, you see them both kind of proposing to each other, and love the fact that that was followed up on in the finale, and we see that. Love the fact that Derpy is still a male mayor, but obviously looks like she also has other jobs as well. What else? I love the fact that Starlight and Sunburst are kind of together. It looks like they're together, and they're both running the School of Friendship, because she was given that position in the what was the episode? It wasn't student council or anything. I don't know why my thing just went off there. That was weird. I do apologize for that. But like I said, it's basically I like the fact that what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, I like the fact that basically, because I like the fact that Starlight and Sunburst are now are still running the school. You see them a little older and everything. And if you have to know, I think what was the episode? Let me check here. And again, for anybody that's probably going to listen to this in the audio podcast thing, my screen kind of went blank a little bit. It goes into that sleep mode, if you will. I don't know why it did that when I was doing a live stream. That's kind of weird. I think it's not the first time though, but nothing's really bad. Nothing's really wrong. It's just kind of surprising. It's like, why did it do that? So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Let me check something, guys. I can get the episode right here. Well, horseshoeing, that's what it is. Horseshoeing, in that episode, basically Twilight fulfills a promise that she made, I think, in one episode in the prior season, in season 8, that is, to make, and I think that was a matter of principle she made that promise in, to make Starlight the new head mayor of the school of Friendship, since she's going to become the new ruler of Equestria along with her friends. So I liked the fact that was followed through on. And then, of course, like I said, here in the finale, you see in the future her and Sunburst running the school as head mayor and vice head stallion, and obviously probably hinting at the fact that they got together. Loved it, that's pretty cool. Like seeing Trixie in there as the student counselor, and actually looks like she's really grown into the job. And then, of course, you're wondering who's going to be the teachers. Well, obviously, it's the CMCs. We finally see them in the future as some of the new teachers of the School of Friendship. Obviously, along with the grown-up Ocellus and Smolder and Silverstream along with them. So you have those 6 teaching, at the School of Friendship. And we actually see the CMCs officially grown up. Yes, we saw them in the episode Growing Up is Hard to Do, or by magic, they were turned into fully adult mayors, but then changed back courtesy of the same magic, because, they only did that because they wanted to go to this carnival or whatever on their own. So pretty cool. So it's pretty cool to see that. And again, obviously, like I said, you see who are the teachers. Like, okay, Starlight and Sunburst are the, head mayor and vice stallion, if you will, or vice head stallion. And Trixie's the student counselor. But it's also nice, like I said, you see that the CMCs, along with Ostellis, Silverstream, and Smolder, are the teachers teaching at the school. Taking over for the main six. So I loved seeing that. It was great. Hating everything, and it's just overall just seeing where all the characters ended up. Like Sambar and Yona obviously are together, and Rarity has put Yona in charge of her boutique along with Sambar. You see that, of course, Big Mac and Sugar Bella married, but they also have a kid. We see the Cake Twins grown up, and they're at Sugar Cube Corner along with Pinky and Cheese Sandwich and a grown up freaking gigantic gummy, which really took everybody surprised there. It's like, whoa, see that. And then, of course, like I said, you have Rainbow Dash now in charge of the Rundabolts, and then Fluttershy, obviously living in between worlds with Discord, as well as her sanctuary, so her animal sanctuary and stuff. And then, of course, there are some moments that are very somber. Like you see that you notice that certain characters are no longer there. Like with Applejack, she's wearing Granny Smith's scarf. You see Apple Bloom's wearing Goldie Delicious's scarf, and it kind of makes you somber a little bit. Like, oh, they're not there anymore. They've passed away. And then you start noticing, well, where are the other adult characters? They should still be there. They'll be a little older. And you kind of get the idea that they too may have passed on and everything. They may have passed on as well. And you're thinking, well, what about Spitfire? Spitfire is about the same age as Rainbow Dash. She's, she shouldn't be dead, but you might get the indication that, she's gone as well, because there's a line that Rainbow Dash sings in the Magical Friendship song, Magical Friendship Growth song, which she says, as long as we're something like as long as we're all together, or something like that. As long as we're all together. So I think that's the line, something like that. People pointed out that you notice that Spitfire is not in the picture as well alongside her when she says that. So it kind of gives off the vibes that something happened to Spitfire. Like either she retired, she stepped down, or she may have died in combat, or something occurred to ride her out, or to take her out. And hello, everyone, from Elsa to David to Ricardo Miles from Ukraine. So thank you guys for being in the live chat. And if you guys, again, want to donate to the Super Chat, Super Chats are indeed open. That is up to you, whatever amount you want to do. But which is like a retirement home or retirement part of Equestria. So you're thinking, yeah, maybe that's where the Cake parents went. Mr. and Mrs. Cake went, and maybe where Spitfire went, or something like that. You kind of get that indication, but you also kind of get an indication that some passed on. And like I said, with Rainbow Dash's line, it kind of gives you that vibe. But again, overall, it's just a nice finale. I mean, I can't say any more than that. I mean, the fact that when you get that montage of characters behind each of the main six altogether, is really cool. Especially when you get to Twilight, the montage of characters behind Twilight. What's nice about that is not only do you see Tempest Shadow, who we do see in the ending of the end part 2, in that group, along with the rest of Equestria coming to the aid of the main 7. But you also see her in the crowd during the ceremony for Twilight's coronation. But then, of course, you see her in the group shot behind Twilight. But what's also cool about that is you also see Flash Sentry and Sunset Shimmer. That's right. 2 characters from Equestria Girls, which basically confirms, just like with the sirens appearing in the flashback, that the pillars would that are basically the same thing with the sirens I was trying to say, that appear in the flashback of the story that the pillars were telling Starlight and the rest of the main group in the season 7 finale. you obviously now see that there is a connection, continuity-wise, between Friendship is Magic and Equestria Girls. So basically in the same continuity, same somewhat timeline. So there you go. And again, like I said, it was nice to see Flash Sentry and Sunset included. And, people like Silver Quill and Palio, I think, so if I pronounced that wrong, we're kind of glad that they did that as well. So overall, the series finale, especially, so overall, the last part of the series finale I thought was really good. And the song they closed off on was really great. And I can't say any more than that. I mean, I do know, as everybody does, the season, continuity-wise, is continuing in the comics, if you will. So that's good. But from an animation perspective, this was a nice send-off, and I can't say any more than that. So at number 1, of course, is indeed the series finale to MLP, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And that is, guys, pretty much gonna do it for this live stream on my top 9, on the top 9 series of top 9 finales in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you all for tuning in the live chat. Really appreciate it. Again, when I do a future live chat in the future, I will have super chats opened and everything for you guys to donate if you want to. I really appreciate it if you would. And everything. So again, I can't really say any more than that. And everything. So I just added a ad in there. So if you see an ad at the end of the video, don't be surprised. But anyway, though, guys, just want to thank you all for joining me in the live chat for this nearly 2 hours and 20 minutes of discussion on the, like I said, the top 9 finales in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. In my opinion, I know others have their own thoughts on what they consider to be the top 9. You might have a different order when it comes to the finales of the show, but this is just my opinion on what I consider to be the top 9. And hopefully you may agree, and hopefully you may or may not agree with it. But let me know down below. Comment if you like. Again, thank you to those that joined me in the live chat, especially Ricardo from Ukraine. Hey, nice to see somebody from there coming in and being part of this. So again, thank you all for joining me, guys. Really appreciate it. Support my channel here. Support my Brian's Discussions channel. Help me to get 1,000 subscribers there. Check me out at my BW Roses Discussions podcast, which this will also be a part of later on from an audio perspective, which you can find the BW Roses Discussions at Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player.fm, Radio Public, Stitcher, Breaker, Overcast, and hopefully down the line, Pandora, if that ever does occur. So again, guys, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. I will probably be back with another live stream, hopefully today. If not, I will be back with other content as well, so you guys can check that out. But until then, let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. Really appreciate the support, art, and everything. Thank you all for those tuning in, and have a good rest of your Monday. Hey, God bless. Take care. Stay safe.